4 years ago, I started a number of root over rock projects. Of those, many involved Chinese elm, and in fact, many of you will know that my first ever root over rock project was indeed this Chinese elm in this beautiful Dawn Isaac ceramic. I love root over rock, and you should too, because not only is it easy, it's extremely satisfying. It's a great way of making some pocket money if you're looking for a bit of extra cash, but most of all, they look good on your display benches. But to see exactly how this particular Chinese elm has journeyed from 2021 right through to June 2025, and to learn a few tips on how easy it is to do root over rock, then just keep on watching. Enjoy the journey, as I am too. Hi, it's Xavier. Welcome to my bonsai retreat, and you're going to see me 3 times saying exactly the same thing over the next year, 2 years, I don't know. I've got 3 root over the rock projects which were started in 2021. Now that's a bit of a shame, because in 2021 I wasn't doing YouTube, and back in March 2023 I actually did a video where I took, I think, 7, 8 of these root on rock projects, many of which you've seen updated in 2024, and I just checked to see how they were secured to the rock. When necessary, I made changes and reaffixed them, and if you want to see what I did with that, then by all means, that's the video. Okay, well, has that worked? Has that now secured that properly? Well, let's have a look, shall we? I've now weeded away, so we've even got the dandelion out of there, but I need to pull, and in this one I can hold that rock quite nicely. Just tap. There's sets of roots all around there. This is looking very fixed. I mean, I'll give it a little gentle movement, and the rock and the tree are moving together. So really what I want to do is just drop the level a little bit, and probably I might just put it into a plastic pot, shall I? No. Actually, the more I think of it, let's not be in too much of a hurry to get it into a final pot shape. Let's see what I normally do with these. Just put another 1.5 centimeters of soil in the bottom, and then just tease away some of these roots that are showing up. So the aim is sit this higher in the pot, so I get more roots growing well beneath the level of the rock. What I can see as I'm holding it is there's absolutely no movement, which is brilliant. So let's just push a lot of the stuff that's at the side here downwards, so again just adds to stability and security. Right, so it's higher up. What I need to do now is just put a bit more soil in. This is what we've got here. This rock straddles roots over this side, comes up there, roots are going down, then we've got the big thick root there, plus another one over this side here. So I just want to clean off stuff that's down here, and I want to start seeing the roots that are actually attached. I mean, that is firmly fixed, so I can start breaking this up. So what we want is, let's be honest, it's a root over rock, so we want to see those roots and we want to see the rock. Do you know what, it's not rocket science, is it? Now, what we've got is loads of little roots here. They're not really of much interest to me, because closer in, what I can see now is there's a big heavy root there, and these little ones are not going to be doing anything for attachment. So I'm going to start removing these. I hadn't seen this one before, so we've got, let's get rid of those. Now a lot of these little roots here would also die off anyway, but I just want to be able to see. I've just nearly cut into the root. You don't want to do that. And let's clean up around here. Don't want that root there. And rather than pulling it out, let's just cut it off. Okay, so we can definitely see these roots here down the side of the rock. And I'm now going to slowly work my way around this one. In fact, you can see that's nicely gripping on. Just take away, I think I put a load of moss there. We don't want them. There. Got this nice one's coming around there. So I think they've held on really, really well. We can now see a lot more of that root. Probably this is the most attractive. So we just need to prune off a few things that we clearly won't want. So that's brilliant. That's definitely uncovered another centimetre or so of the roots there. That's probably the best front for the tree. I'm just going to remove a little bit of growth that we're not going to want. Because what we don't want the tree to do is to grow into areas that are blatantly not going to be what we want. So let's just open this up, basically pruning back to profile. I'm not going to go big time on this, but again, ultimately I don't want the tree wasting energy in places that's clearly not needed. So we'll just well, I wanted to see that it's nice and healthy. That clearly is. And as you can see, I'm literally doing this profile, bit butchery, I know, but that's fine with this. And you can probably see it's not totally random, the pruning. I am looking at the direction where the buds are coming from so that we're actually getting pads coming out, and where I clearly don't want growth going across the front of the tree. Where there's stuff coming from junctions, I'll clean those out now. I don't want the tree to waste energy in places it's not needed. Okay, well there you go, pruned it all back. The front's got to be there because we've got this back branch here, but it is impressive to see here we've got these lovely roots all around here. And as I can firmly show you, it is definitely attached to that rock. And what I'm looking for is that bottom centimetre and a half to be the place where new roots grow beneath the rock. I want a really nice firm root structure there. The more roots, the more growth, the thicker this will grip anyway. So it's all a win-win really. When should we next visit this? Don't know, sometime in 2025. So see you then. So here we are now, 11 months later. It's somewhere around about the 20th of June 2025, and first of all I think you can all agree this Chinese elm, is that like a Chinese hat? This Chinese elm is looking absolutely scrumptious. Scrumptious, now there's another good word. I'm just finding them all over the place. And if we give it a spin, I mean, you'll see from, well actually luckily you've only just seen how this is attached, and I can say now, you know, 11 months further on, that's even more secure on this rock. You know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to need to do a little bit of pruning, but more importantly, do you know, these darn dandelions, they have a way of ingratiating themselves amongst my bonsai. And in particular, they like to go down between the cracks of those root over rock. That's a problem because it's actually, if you look in there, it's jammed between the root and the rock. We need to remove that. And I have a feeling the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we actually release it from the container. So, oh yeah, bit of movement. So I'm going to do another exploratory. I'm going to try and take away a little bit more soil. I may even consider putting it into a pre-bonsai pot, if you know what I mean. Now, As I did last year, this is indeed in the probably the last week of spring, early summer. No, I'm not doing a full repot, all I'm doing is an examination. As I've already done, you can see the tree's healthy. There was no adverse reaction to the work I did last year. And I do believe the only way we're going to get this out properly is to actually pull this out of the pot. So let's just have a look and just see what we've got. And already, look at those, some lovely white roots coming through. And in fact, if you look in close there, you can see we've got nice healthy root growth on there. And it's not going to do any issues really because I've taken this off. I really want those roots to be fanning out sideways down, producing a really nice base. So I'm going to find myself a nice little training pot and we're going to sit it in there. Then we might just try and take that dandelion out. And what's probably really interesting to see here is these lovely, you can see them, those white roots. And these are the roots that show the health of the tree. And we really don't want to be doing too much to disturb the growth that's going on right now. So I'm going to very, very carefully remove just this upper layer and then get this into a pot. It goes without saying that we also need to make sure we need to keep these fine root network patterns well sprayed down, because again, we do not want the tips to be dying because they've dried out. Now the first thing I'm going to say to you is there's no way I'm going to be able to pull that upwards without causing lots of problems here. So I'm going to take an easy route. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to cut the root right there, so I should be able to just gently pull that up without any issue whatsoever. What I need to be aware of is that it's so close to that rock face. I really don't want to be risking moving any of the soil that's really close where roots might be still starting their gripping process. So I'm going to accept that I have got a weed or a dandelion that is probably going to regrow in that same spot. Very aware that with temperatures in the 27, 28 degrees, we're in the morning, best time to do this if I'm going to do it. I need to get this into some soil. And I've got myself just one of these straightforward, pretty cheap Chinese ceramic pots, and I think that will probably do nicely. And for those of you again follow my channel a lot, you'll know the soil I make up. I've got a couple of videos that talk about this, basically pumice, zeolite, vermiculite, some leca, and then some activated charcoal and some slow release Oceana root boost. I'm going to put some of that in the bottom, and then let's see if we can get this this incredible project moving forwards. And we just need to mound up the middle. And I think really the key thing to remember here is that we want to save as many of these roots as we can. But I'm continuing. Look at that. That's some nice, look at those nice, mind you, they're weeds. The little white ones you see, they're all weeds like that. So try and get rid of as many of those as you can. That could be the dandelion root. There we go. So I'm going to continue to just clean that out. Now I'm not going to cut this right now. I probably could, but I'm not going to. Because what I really want to do is expose a lot more of this rock. And obviously what I need to do with this is all those roots that have been going downwards, I'm just slowly spreading them a little bit outwards. I've changed the angle of this slightly so the rock's just going off on the diagonal. And again, the aim of this is not to displace too much of this here, but to actually try and get more of the roots there. I want them to form a nice square base. And in my experience, that's what's always worked best. And as you see, I mean, this is firmly attached to that rock. Take your time. I'm going to keep a lot of this moss here. And if you're wondering that there was one big root that was coming down, I just wound it a little bit around the pot. I don't want to take any roots away from this at all. If someone asked me, could I? In the past I have, not a problem. But this is moving on really nicely, and I want to make sure that it has every reason to do as well as others that I've done in this particular technique with the very early summer, late spring repot. I think that's looking magnificent. Now, another big reason why I won't be taking this moss off is because there's a whole raft of little roots on there, which clearly I don't want to expose to the sun, and equally I have to recognise that I have taken it out of a safe environment, so I am also going to protect it from what will be a harsh couple of weeks of heat. So it'll stay in a very, very shady spot and will be allowed to recover nicely. I just want to make sure this is sitting securely in there, because the one problem I have with my garden, and I know you've heard me talk about it before, the birds. Now we've got these growing pigeons, this sort of size, they're going all around the back of these pots, just digging right through them. Funny old thing, they're loving the root over rock stuff. And I keep coming out each morning and there's just dirt everywhere. I've got rocks over everything. So there it is. We've got to get rid of this this moss, which I'll just slowly pick off with either this, or I've got a nylon fibre, bigger brush or a little smaller one, holding it and just gently removing that. There's no hurry. Now you can see I've got a bit of movement in this, and the reason why is I was struggling because the holes were on this side. I struggled to find a way to actually secure that down. I will probably end up putting a wire under the base and across the top to really hold it down. I'll show you that when I've done it. It's a lovely rock on there. I love this. Again on this side. Quite like this hole. Got to just get a little bit of Scotch moss. We want to get rid of these out as they grow. The only thing I will do, I've got a little bit of exposed root here. I'll probably just cover that over with a little bit of moss. Okay, well I've waxed some moss around there, and you can probably see here there's a wire here just attached through the pot, and I've put a plastic air tube from an aquarium over the top. That means this now is held firmly in place. Do you know what? Probably doesn't look ready for display or the final product, but it does the job. And all I need is that to be like that probably for another year. So next year I'll probably release that, and by then all those roots will be in there. Sometimes you've got to be willing to give up some of the attractiveness of it, to recognize that that needs to be really, really stable if I want those lower new growing roots to continue to push out any sort of movement from wind, or in my garden birds, and I could end up destroying any hope of developing a nice new strong root structure beneath. Yep, I know there's loads of you going, Xav, why on earth didn't you do this in March? And you know what, I could have equally done it in March, and probably if you ask me whether there's greater success rate or whatever, yeah, probably. But I've always found, and certainly I've been doing root over rock now for 6-7 years, you've seen I've had success with them. I like to see the growth has been put out in the post-flush hardened stage. It's been in the structure normally for 2 or 3 years, so it's already got that firm grip. I'm not going to be cutting roots out, I'm just going to be looking to spread them around. And I find I can have absolutely great success doing it this time of the year. It also means I get to enjoy the transition in the sunlight when it's like this, because I think this looks fantastic. So only thing yet to do is give it a bit of a prune. And at this time of the year, well, you saw what pruning I did before. It's going to be exactly the same sort of thing. Pruning to profile, but I still want to keep growing tips. I still want to have lots of areas where that's going to continue to expand and thicken the existing structure. The more solar panels on there through leaves, the more chance that I'm going to get more energy directed downwards for greater root growth and greater health of the tree. So best I get out there and start trimming back. And you know what I'm going to be doing, removing anything that's going upwards, or where we've got threes where we don't want threes. Great big crossing one here, we'll bring it right back. And crumbs, you've only just seen this 5 minutes ago, so tell you what, bet you'll be happy if I come back when it's done. So there it is, nicely clipped back. I'm not going to go too nuts because, again, as I keep saying, I still want quite a lot of foliage on there. And the good thing about Chinese elm is if you leave them for a year and do nothing, all it does is continue to strengthen the tree. You can always prune back hard in the early spring. Even when you look down from above, it's impressive. You can start seeing the structure that's starting to develop. I'm just so glad I started these projects. I didn't just start one. Many of you'll know I've got 10 on the go at the moment. Trident maples and Chinese elms and Fuji cherry. In fact, that's the video related to the Fuji cherry. That is going to be a very unusual one. Got my slow release my liquid fertilizer, very balanced. I'm actually just going to cover the sphagnum with it. There are slow release pellets, as you know, already in the soil, but can't hurt to give this just a little extra boost. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed this aspect. That's from 2021 right through to 2025, and so there you go. Is that 4 years to actually get it into a bonsai pot of sorts? I think that's pretty magnificent. And I can hear you. Yes, you said there's 2 more, didn't you? Well, shall I give you a bit of a taster of what you can expect to see if we do the same thing but a year further on in 2026? So if that really got you going, then I honestly urge you, hit the subscribe, bell notifications, all that lovely stuff, because this one, again, started in 2021, this Trident maple, has gone through the same process, except you're not going to see what I did to it last year, this year. In fact, you're going to have to wait till next year. And it's been repotted, so it's definitely not going to be spring, so if you can wait another 11, 12 months, but I think it's going to be worth it. And again, it's a Trident maple that started off as one of my cuttings. It's all free. It's got to be good. If you want to learn more about all the fun stuff I've done with Root on Rock, well, hey, that's the playlist you really want to be looking at. There's loads of content in there. Otherwise, enjoy summer, happy bonsai, and God bless. Cheers.